People have fallen literally like a pack of cards during this corona pandemic, in particular the second wave. To the extent it has become almost difficult to find anybody in India who has not experienced grief and loss at some level. So how does one deal with this and heal oneself? Let's hear it from one of the leading psychiatrists of India, Dr. Sameer Parekh. So Dr. Parekh, specifically about losing someone, when we lose a loved one, someone who's very close and dear to us, how do we cope with that grief and loss? And how much time does it take to settle that grief and bounce back?
I think it's very important to understand that grief is a very, very personal experience. Each individual's understanding, processing, resolution, reaction, impact of grief is going to be a very, very individual kind of a reaction. There can't be tips and a uniform way to say that do this, or do that, and in so many weeks you should become fine, in so many days you should become fine. I don't think that's the very sensitive way of looking at it. For most of us, it'll initially bring up with almost a denial, numbing kind of a feeling, and gradually we start understanding. It may give us our mood fluctuation. It takes us time for us to have an acceptance, and then coming back to life and our responsibilities and our loved ones and so on and so forth. I think the key in resolution of grief lies in the support systems. Friends, family, colleagues, whoever helps and supports, and be there. Be there so that the individual in grief does not feel that I am in this all by myself. I think that is the key of coping with grief.
Moving on from resolving grief at an individual level to focusing on society as a whole. Dr. Parekh, there has been collective grief. So how can there be collective healing? My question is, how does India heal? The morale is at an all-time low. How does India heal?
During this time, everybody is impacted in one way or the other, have gone through their anxieties and distress. And that's where is in my opinion, even the solution, which means it is everybody. So everybody needs to come together to also change the narrative from despair and negativity to find some hope, some resilience for each other. Help each other find their moments of positivity, their moments of feeling, taking care of each other, sharing inspirational and support stories, sharing how people were helped by others. And I think that's going to collectively help the mental status of the entire society.
Let's now focus on guilt, Dr. Parekh. As you know, people have been harboring this huge amount of guilt these days. Like for instance, survivor's guilt. Why are we alive when everyone else around us is dying? So how does one manage these kind of self-deprecating emotions and mortifying feelings?
Survivor's guilt is a natural human reaction, and it's going to be there for some time, and then it should gradually settle. It's human to feel that, why did I lose someone? And so it's very, very human. The only way to deal with it is to keep doing things for others, be responsible, show compassion, be kind to others, do things for others, say things, altruism is the solution of any form of guilt.
Spiritually, how does one heal oneself? India is the place the world turns to for spiritual healing at a time when India itself is dealing with the worst crises. People feeling sad, depressed, struggling with grief after a loss. How do Indians transform their pain through spiritual healing? After the pain of loss can feel overwhelming, but there can be healthy ways to cope with it. And who better to dwell on this topic than B.K. Shivani, senior Raja Yoga teacher, spiritual guide and mentor, who's better known as Brahma Kumari Shivani. So Sister Shivani, it's no longer a piece of news in the newspaper, as you know, that so-and-so is dying. It's really in our neighborhood, in our families, amongst our friends, peers, and it's really in the face. the morale of people is also at an all-time low, witnessing untimely death, seeing negative news being played out day in and day out. So how does one cope with this whole ambience of grief and loss at a personal level?
It's not that people have not left before, right?
Yeah.
So it would, but because right now I am not in my best emotional health otherwise only. Because I'm going through my fear, my anxiety, my worry, my stresses. So emotionally, many of us are not in the best health.
True.
And when I'm not in the best health, and when I'm already kind of worried, thinking, what if it happens to me? What if it happens to someone in my family? Then we see repeated visuals of what has been happening. And it starts feeling that it's very real. It can happen to any of us, anytime, any day. So that's a very different programming that happens on the mind. So we are not in the best of emotional health otherwise. And then we hear that, so-and-so has left.
Right.
So the impact of that is much bigger right now than it would have been on a normal time.
But what is the antidote to that? If I may ask you.
Antidote to that is that keep yourself in the best emotional health otherwise also.
By doing what all? By doing what all?
By, first of all, understanding that the state of mind is not dependent on situations of life. So that's the first equation we need to know.
Okay.
So that we don't tell ourselves every day, fear and anxiety is normal during an epidemic. Panic is normal when people around us are leaving. No, it's not. It's a choice.
Okay.
It's a choice. It's an optional emotion that I create. I have options to create any emotion. So we have grown up believing that our mind is dependent on situations.
No, what is the alternate emotion that we could choose at such times? Is
Which
what
time?
I want to.
Which time?
At a time of losing someone, at a time of personal loss.
Even at the time of a personal loss, you can be very calm, very stable. You can be the power, the pillar of the house, taking charge of everybody, empowering others, understanding the reality of life, and also thinking about the soul who has left.
Okay.
That is one realization which helps people to shift from, personal level. So suppose it is for somebody in the family, okay?
Right.
Now, one is the person leaving. Second is my life.
Okay.
So what is the pain more about? The pain more about is my life.
Right.
Naturally. And it's fine. That's fine. It's about my life because a lot of things will change in my life right now.
Correct.
Suppose it is the owner of the house, then everything changes. Suppose it's a child, then everything changes. So this is all close relationships. So the pain is about how am I going to live my life without you?
Okay.
So pain is about my life. Okay. So the vacuum, because it's a vacuum in my life, and a vacuum which nobody else can replace.
Okay.
Nobody else can heal. So I know it. It is hitting me that my life will have this vacuum permanently. Okay. So when we think about ourselves and our pain and our vacuum, then it's very normal to grieve, to cry, to not feel like living. And all those emotions are normal if I'm thinking about myself.
Okay.
But if I only for a few minutes think about the one who has left.
Okay. Yeah.
So spiritually we understand that death only means the body is no more and the soul has left.
True. Yeah.
And when the soul leaves, it's going to leave one costume and take another one.
Right. Yeah.
So the soul has entered the womb of her mother.
Okay.
And every thought and every feeling that we are creating here is a vibration, it's an energy which reaches the soul in the womb. It is just a time space that is given to us to understand that we have to pray and meditate and have a very, collective positive energy in the house so that all our vibrations are reaching the soul and they will help the soul on the journey forward.
I see. Okay.
So that's why it is like praying for the soul, having bhajan at home, having prayer at home. It's a lot of purity and positivity for the soul so that it's going to help the soul. Yeah. But you need high vibrational energy which is going to give peace and calm to the soul who has suddenly lost everything. We think we lost everything. It's not we who lose everything. We lose 1% of our life.
Yeah.
But the soul who leaves lost everything.
Right.
So the soul lost their body.
Yeah.
The soul lost all their people.
Right.
The soul lost all their achievements.
Correct.
In 1 second, one person has lost everything.
Right.
So who is the big one who's lost?
The one
It's
was
that person, the person who's left.
Yes.
What did we lose? We lost 1%.
Right.
So who is in a bigger pain right now?
The person who's
That
gone.
person who's left. There is so much burden and anxiety on the soul who leaves.
Okay.
It is many times more than it is on the people who stay back.
Okay, I see. That's
It's a very heavy energy. Lot of pain. Suddenly accident, or suddenly like right now COVID. So suddenly the soul leaves. They had not done anything before to leave.
Right. Yeah.
They had not prepared themselves. They had not prepared the family, and they lost everything. And there is an element of uncertainty. Where am I going to go now? What is my future?
Correct.
What am I going to? Because people left behind, all this is not there.
Right.
All this is not there. So if you put a percentage to it now, it will be 10:100. So understand that the people who are dying are in pain, but who's left are in pain, and you change your perspective to understanding that the person who's left can catch all your vibrations. They could catch it even when they were in the body. You can feel people's vibrations.
Yes.
You can feel what your parent is feeling. You can feel what your child is feeling. But when the soul leaves the body, their catching power is highest. It's like out-of-body experience.
Oh.
So we've all heard about out-of-body experience.
Yes.
So in out-of-body experience, the soul can hear everything, watch everything, catch everything. Now, when person dies, it's a permanent out-of-body experience.
Okay.
So they can catch everything. Now from here, if I keep sending thoughts like, I don't want to live, why did you go away, come back, who will take care of your children, all this, which we call normal thoughts.
Yeah.
But all these thoughts, when they reach that soul, it can become very suffocating. They can't come back and they can't settle.
Oh, I see.
And when these vibrations are reaching to a soul who has entered the womb of a mother, and that is why the 9 months pregnancy period is very different for different mothers. For someone, it's very easy, very comfortable. For someone, it's very uncomfortable.
Right.
It's all based a lot on the soul who has entered, what's their state of mind, and based on the past family, what pain, their normal pain, what grief they are radiating to that soul.
I see.
So when families understand this, and they understand that before their pain, they have to think of that soul's pain. They have to heal that soul, because their new body is going to get created in these next few months.
Correct.
If we radiate so much pain over there, how will the body be healthy? Their new destiny is going to get created. So what is the one message that soul wants to hear from us? That soul wants to hear from us, we are fine. We will take care of ourselves. You start a beautiful journey.
Okay, yeah.
It is as simple as when someone from your house goes to another country. Let's say a child goes to study overseas. So no parent likes to send away their child overseas, but they send. They send because the child is starting another journey.
Because
it's for his good. फिर यहाँ से क्या बोलेंगे, हम ठीक है, तो हमारी चिंता नहीं करना, तुम हमारी चिंता नहीं करना. Same thing we have to do now.
Correct.
So every day we meditate together, the family from where someone has left directly, the direct family relationship. We pray or we meditate together, and instead of saying, why did you go away so early? We say, thank you so much for all that you have given us in that X number of years that you were with us. So we are not going to be saying, why did you leave early? The soul had a journey. They had another way to go. But are you going to be thinking only about yourself and say, why did you not stay 20 years more? Instead of that, say thank you for those beautiful 50 years that they were with you. One, gratitude. Lot of gratitude for all the time that you were with us, instead of complaining for the time you went away early.
Right. Yeah.
One is gratitude. So shift from, because when we send the message to the soul, क्यों चले गए? आप कैसे चले गए? It's not good energy, for someone who was here for so long with us and did so much for us. It's like complaining.
It's like
आप
complaining,
ऐसे कैसे चले गए?
grumbling, complaining.
हाँ, grumbling, complaining. अभी ये energy तो नहीं भेजना चाहिए.
नहीं.
So gratitude. So we don't say these lines which are so-called normal lines. Gratitude is the normal line.
Okay.
And second most important, sending the message, हम आपके बिना कैसे रहेंगे? No. हम यहाँ बिल्कुल ठीक होंगे.
Okay.
And हम सबका ध्यान रखेंगे. आप हमारी चिंता नहीं करना.
Yeah. Assuring. The
Assuring, because that is comfortable for the soul. When we start talking like that in our mind, which is real,
soul.
first our healing will start happening.
Okay.
Because one is we lose a person, second is we say all these wrong thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what escalates the pain.
Oh, okay.
You know, this increases our pain.
Right.
What is real is only the vacuum that the person is no more. The rest of it is all our thinking. And also fill your house with purity and positivity in terms of have high energy words playing in your house constantly.
Chants.
Yeah,
mantra.
constantly. Yes,
Okay.
throughout the day, on a low volume, it's there in the background throughout the day, especially in the kitchen.
Okay.
In the kitchen, because, you know, in a house where there's grief, then the food also absorbs all that pain.
Okay.
And the food and water energy affects our mind. You know, jaisa an, vaisa man.
Bilkul.
We are what we eat. So, one, there is pain, and then we eat food of pain. You know, it's a vicious cycle that becomes like that.
Okay.
So, we should be having high energy words in the kitchen.
Okay.
And every day, watch, read, or listen something very pure and powerful.
Okay.
So that it's like good diet for the mind.
Okay.
Energize your mind. Don't just allow, it's like you're not well physically. Don't just sit like that, unwell. Take charge. Heal your mind.
Healing.
So fill yourself with positivity.
Okay.
And the sooner you will allow the house to be normal, sooner, you know, chalo, abhi utho, karo, office jao, karo, you know, whatever is needed.
Yeah.
So the sooner the family will bring the house to normal, the sooner the minds will get healed.
To conclude, most people will experience the 5 stages of grief, but the intensity may vary with each individual. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance are the 5 stages during this grieving process. Often these emotions will not come in a flat linear path, and you may find yourself swinging from one emotion to another. However, sitting with these feelings, not pushing them aside, rather acknowledging them, is the first step towards recovery. Allowing yourself time to heal from the loss is important. Leaning for help and support from your loved ones can prove to be immensely beneficial too. But try to establish a daily routine and pace yourself back into normal life as soon as you feel confident. Thank you.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.